Hello, everyone, and welcome to Entab's Campus Care Group Discussion Show. In this show, our bright torchbearers of India will join us on board and share their insightful, enlightening, and unique thoughts on should internships or after school jobs. Internships are needed to hone 21st century employability skills. A minimum of a 6 month apprenticeship can help students become fully trained in the industry and give them real time exposure. However, managing internships or with studies can make it difficult for students to manage an internships. So, we are here with all the bright students who would like to share their views and have a group discussion on how well it goes. So, bear with me as I host for the evening. Sakshi would like to, introduce everyone to you. Let us start what our kids have to say on this. I would give it over to you, kids. Who would like to start the session?
Ma'am, may I?
Yes, Rasika.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. So, I'm Rasika Ranganathan and I'm going to be speaking for the topic. So, yes, internships or after school jobs must be made mandatory for students due to the following reasons. Enhancing time management skills. So, students usually waste a lot of their time either by scrolling on their phones or playing video games or by doing other unproductive stuff. So, securing a job for students will help them to use their time wisely and efficiently. Thus, it will help them to understand the importance of time management. The equal proportionate time given to study, school, homework, recreational activities, and their job timings will teach them an important lesson of balance. Second, motivation to study and upgrade oneself. So, students, while at school, are not usually very much motivated to study by themselves unless there is an external force pushing them to do so. So, let internships be a motivation for students to study, work hard, and secure good jobs with a good pay. Third, it gives a hint of money. Only when students see the actual application of money in their hands, they'll be able to understand its true value. Children don't understand the value of each rupee which is earned with great difficulty by their parents. And thus, it is necessary that they acknowledge this hard work of theirs. Fourth, intelligent youth of the country. Once a person starts working and becomes stable, automatically a sense of independence can be felt. The independence of taking one's own decisions. This is surely to help the country in the following ways. First, it increases the national income of the country as there will be more tax givers. Second, more educated people with more employment opportunities. And third, most importantly, responsible youth for the country. Thank you.
Thank you, Rasika, for expressing your views. Do we have anybody else who would like to take over? Naman, would you like to take over?
Yes, ma'am.
Continue.
Ma'am, my name is Naman Chaudhary and I'm from Alpine. And I also agree from the Rasika's point of view that they that internship should be mandatory after the school. It can be mandatory because due to the following reasons of my opinion. First reason can be that it creates professionality. After doing the studies, we have to do work professional work experience, and by doing internship, we know the work experience. Internship can be of many times, and we can have our most favorable by their types. So second is thing that it increases also world's economic country's economy by person who does do experience in their internship. After they get jobs, they do work professionally, and internship can also give give jobs to who perform well, and that's a good point of view that I like it most. Internship, as I study that, it is a very good thing because it helps to gain practical experience as we study it on and on. There may be many reasons which can help us to which may help us to keep it mandatory, but according to my point of view, these are the main points which we can have with internship. Thank you.
Thank you, Naman, for expressing your views. I would like to remind all the students that the results will be based on your voting. So go subscribe our channel. Tell your friends and family to vote for you by only subscribing the channel. Only those votes will be counted. So do go fast and tell everybody to vote for you so that you could be the next winner. So may I have anybody who else who wants to speak
May
about this
I
topic?
go
Yes,
ahead?
yes. Sai, yes, Sai.
Thank you, ma'am. So, one of the primary reasons why I think internships should be made mandatory after school is because there is usually a wide gulf between theory and practice. What we learn in school is majorly theory oriented. Whatever we learn is straight out of books. It has been compiled for many years and it remains consistent for most of the time. However, once we complete studying, we enter the real world. We put our feet into the corporate world where things are dynamic. Things keep changing every few months. And in order to get acquainted with corporate life and with how employment works in the real world, students need internships. So internships help build employability skills within the youth of today, which is a very important thing because while school prepares us by giving us the theoretical basis of the knowledge we will need later on in life, the professional skills and the practical knowledge that we need in order to execute it well is only developed through experience, and that experience is built, internships actually help or facilitate us build those skills. And that is the reason why we need internships today. Also, India is, a country with a very young population. We have 66% of our population as the youth. And so it is of utmost importance that these youth be trained in skills that are relevant to the future. And it is through internships that they actually get a hang of all of these skills. And this is why the youth need to take up these after school jobs and build work experience so that they can be the pioneers of tomorrow. They will actually know what skills are wanted in the future. And based on this, they can also calibrate their higher education. They can take up a course that will help them develop the skills that they require in the future if they have such prior work experience from an internship. Apart from which, it also gives a sense of financial independence to the student, like others mentioned in this discussion. The feeling of earning your own money and being responsible for it really helps a person make good monetary decisions. It sets us on the right path to making wise financial decisions because we would then be responsible for the money we earn. So for all these reasons, I think internships are excellent tools to build the youth for tomorrow and ready them for the future.
Thank you, Sai, for putting it across your the viewpoints and your thought processes. Do we have anybody else who would like to speak for the topic?
May I?
Of course, Anushri.
So I too stand for the topic. I think that internships should be made mandatory for students. Firstly, I think that an internship is like a trial. So you get a sneak peek into the job that you're interested in. So for example, if you want to become a journalist, you would take up an internship under a very good journalist and try to work under them. And this will try to help you understand interpersonal relationships, which I think are very important. Firstly, there's always a lot of competition, right? You're not the only candidate who's going to be working in an internship. You need to know how to get on the good side of a person, how to make sure that you're the one who's learning something. And to do that, you must understand what you are good at. You must understand your strengths and your weaknesses, what makes you unique, what will make you stand out of the crowd. And I think those practical skills can only be learned in an internship. Secondly, as a lot of people already mentioned, you get a sense of financial independence because all your school life, all your financial needs are taken care of by your parents. And when you start earning money in paid internships, you also learn how to handle money because most of the time when you get your first salary after school or after graduation, you are often very frivolous with it. You don't know how to handle it and you kind of slip. And one thing that I really liked about an internship is that there's a lot of margin of error. You can make mistakes, and the repercussions are not going to be as severe as they would be when you have an actual job, right? Because if you make an actual mistake in an actual job, you can get fired or suspended. But that's not going to happen in an internship. And I also think that most of the time, some people think that this is actually a con of having an internship, that is having a toxic environment. I think it's actually a good thing because when you have a toxic environment, you learn how to adapt to it. You learn how to make yourself fit into that environment, how to make everyone, be favorable to you. And those skills can only be learned when you are doing an internship. Because when you're doing a job and then you see that every other person doing it is against you, or maybe the employer is against you, then you don't know how to handle that situation and you often lose yourself. Now, I think internships are not only important for a candidate, it's also helpful for the employers. Because when an employer sees that you have done internships in certain areas, then it's easy for him or her to pick you because they know that you have certain experience in this and they know that you would do well in this job. And they also learn from the interns because they get a new fresh perspective of the new generation. And as someone already mentioned, that is 66% of India's population are the youngsters, and it's time we took things in our hands and learned how to be responsible. And to end my little viewpoint, I would like to quote one of my favorite scientists, that's Benjamin Franklin. That is, tell me and I forget, teach me and I may remember, involve me and I learn. I think this fits very well with today's discussion topic. Thank you.
Absolutely, Anushri. So that was the right way to put across with a quote which exactly means what you were trying to portray. So do we have anybody who would like to go ahead?
Miss, may I?
Absolutely, Nawaz.
So I am Mohammed Nawaz, and I
would request you, sorry to interrupt, but I would request you to switch on your video.
I'm on the other device.
You have to switch it on the one we are speaking with. So this current device that you're speaking with, you need to switch on your video.
Just a minute.
All right. Meanwhile, do we have anybody else?
Yes, ma'am. May I?
Yes, Avantika.
First of all, a very delightful namaskar to all my listeners. I'm Avantika, a student of Alpine Public School, Nalagarh. First of all, thank you to this entire team for welcoming me on this platform to present my views. So basically, first of all, the question arises
Avantika,
what does internship means?
Do you have any other device also logged in?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any second device also which is logged in?
Yes, ma'am.
You have to mute that because your voice is echoing.
Okay, ma'am.
Then you can go ahead.
So, ma'am, may I start?
Yeah.
So, first of all, a very grateful namaste to all my listeners. I'm Avantika, a student of Alpine Public School, Nalagarh. Thanks to this entire team for welcoming me on this platform to present my views on this topic. So, first of all, the question is that what does internship means? Simply, it is an act and process in which a student or graduate experiences a professional experience under certain courses. So, in this modern world, everyone wants a good job in his hand, but the competition is increasing day by day. So, it is a best option to just experience the profession in which we are going in, which have various benefits, which include smart work. When we are doing internship in certain course, it will make us work smartly and wisely in that profession when we will enter the job. Secondly, it will ensure time management when we are in the process of starting the job or when we are in the job. Third, it will make us developing a good mental temperament, because when we are preparing for a professional experience, it will make us unable to think beyond the projects, beyond the job, not only for just working under an institute to earn money, but also to make this nation a beneficial resource, as well as to set ourselves as an asset for the nation. This will help us to work wisely under the job. We will learn to manage time, work wisely, as well as it will reduce the workload that we will have after coming into the job. It will help us to manage the tension when we will enter a job. When we join a job, we have certain workload, whereas our household tensions too. So whenever we will prepare for the job in internship, it will help us to manage the workload as well as our mental tensions at homes, etc. It will help us to develop a scientific temperament to the job. As because sometimes it happens, we join a job, but after facing such a workload, it hinders ourselves. It hinders our personality, because we are not interested in that profession due to the workload. Whenever we will do internship in such courses, it will engulf our interest in that field, so that we can develop more new ideas to make that job or make that profession better. So it will also enable our mind to think beyond the job, not only to earn money or to make this nation a good nation, to not only this much, but also to make ourselves a good person for the whole world. Because when we are interested in something, it will enable us to create new ideas, new apps, new developing schemes, skills, etc., which will not benefit just our nation, ourselves, or will add a penny to our pocket, but also help us to create a global revolution, not by just engaging ourselves in jobs, but also by developing mental temperament and discovering various creative skills that we have. At last, I just want to say that if someone will ask you to just go into the ground and kick the ball without practice, we will not be able to do so. So that is why this is the main point we should do internship, because internship will help us to know how to kick the ball, which means how to grasp the job and hold it on, because this world is growing and the competition is rising day by day. Thank you.
Thank you, Antika, for expressing yourself. Can we have... Thank you, Avantika, for expressing yourself. Do we have anybody else who would like to speak? Nawab,
Yeah.
are you ready by now?
Yeah, ma'am. Can I
All
start?
right. Yes, Nawab.
Ma'am, so I am going to express my views against this point, and I'll start with the definition of internship, which is internship is something which we do as an extra work to gain experience in a work. And since most of the internships are done during like times during vacation, these times the management and above people who usually guide us are not available, so we might not get the experience and guidance that we usually expect. And then about finance, yes, it does allow us to have financial independence, but it does also have a backside of it. And the other side is that we have a lot of money, and if we spend it irresponsibly, it can lead to wrong practices, and it may even distract the youth from a correct path. I'm done.
Ma'am, are you entertaining points for rebuttal, or do they come at the end?
Anushri, were you saying something?
Ma'am, could I rebuttal his point, please?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So you spoke about how when in a paid internship, when the intern gets a lot of money, they might spend it irresponsibly. But when you're an intern, as I said, you still have a lot of margin of error. You can make mistakes. And when you're young, you still have a chance to make mistake. When you grow up and when you are in a position where you have lots of responsibilities and then you make a mistake, then the repercussions are quite severe. So don't you think it's better that we learn how to handle money beforehand before we make a big
Mistakes,
mistake?
a mistake like an addiction could be a mistake for a lifetime. So it would like destroy a whole lifetime of a whole youth, which would otherwise be like harder or maybe impossible and could be avoided.
That goes into handling peer pressure, right? You should know how
Not
to not
usually
be
peer
influenced
pressure.
by your peers negatively.
I have a point for rebuttal as well. It's concerning the same point about interns earning money and possibly making life-altering mistakes. Isn't that the ideal time to make a mistake? Because say a person jumps into a job right after their education when they do not have well developed financial habits yet, and if then they make a mistake which will certainly have much greater gravity because they would be earning a lot more as as people who have completed their education and who are actually setting their feet into the professional world as employees. So this is like a stepping stone, isn't it? So the whole purpose of an internship is to learn. It is to develop your spending habits because this is the first time you're exposed to something of that sort. But if you make such a mistake or make a mistake of great proportions when you have an actual job as opposed to making the same mistake when you're an intern, won't that be much more severe? Won't that impact the person's life much more? And so shouldn't people have the freedom to make financial decisions and err in their financial decisions as interns?
Firstly, there's no good time to make a mistake, as you mentioned. And secondly, it would be like a mistake while a person does in his 20s or 30s. He might be a bit more mature at that time and he can cope up with those mistakes quite well. As an intern, he would not be able to do that and might even get into a depressions or anxiety.
Thank you.
All right, I think this answers to what you were expecting. So, do we have anybody who would like to, express their views?
Yes, ma'am.
Muskan, you can go ahead.
Hey everyone, having a job is a good way to save up for the things you are going to need or want to do. A very gracious good evening to everyone. I'm Muskan Lumba from Alpine Public School, and I'm in favor of that idea that internships after school be made mandatory because taking up an after school jobs explores a variety of different skills and opportunities among the students. They learn how to effectively manage their time and explores a variety of financial skills. This also this also helps to make students more independent and confident. It also helps to increase our country's economy, and it also helps to keep the students away from other social platforms, and they could explore their interest among their various skills. It can result in either two ways. The students must learn that this is the right field for them and they should go further and work hard and build their successful career in this field, or a student can either choose that this is not the right field for him. So at last I want to say that an internship after school should be surely made mandatory because exploring in new skills, varieties and opportunities makes a student's mind more sharp either of scrolling down some other social platforms. Thank you.
Thank you, Muskan, for expressing your views. Do we have anybody else who would like to share their viewpoints?
Yes, I would like to share my viewpoints now.
Atharvika, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so good evening, all. I am Atharvika Kar from Saffron Public School, Fagwara. Okay, so I'm in favor of this topic. Okay, so some people may question that why students should have a job after school. They might think that it is too early for them But in reality, they need to realize the importance of hard-earned money, and they don't understand that everything they had been working and everything that they had paid for. So first of all, in these school years, everyone get pocket money. Even I myself take pocket money from my parents. But I kind of think that is more, I'm depending more on my parents. So if you take my opinion, I would definitely go for a job or an internship after my school years. And the main reason is the school, gives us logical knowledge, and we kind of need that knowledge of internship for our. I'm sorry, please. Yeah, sorry for that disturbance. And the main topic is we should save. I mean, if we are in the job after school, it will help us in two various ways. It will help our students to value money, and it will help us to value time. Valuing time is a really main over here, because if we are going to value the time, it will help us. It will help the students a lot in that way. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tharvika. Do we have anybody else who would like to express? Yes, Pragya. Switch on your video, yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Pragya Sharma of. Okay, so basically, internship is an experience that offers practical work related to the student's fields of study or career interest. According to me, practical work experience makes you more marketable to employers. And internships gives us opportunity for career exploration. And it also provides us work experience and helps in developing leadership skills. It also plays a very crucial role in shaping our career. And as personally, I do think that internship should be made mandatory because it helps us in such various ways, like for career development or self development, for communication, for critical thinking, for equity inclusion, or for enhancing leadership quality, or give us ability for to work in a team, or get some knowledge about technology, or gaining essential background knowledge. Okay, it makes us venturesome person also. It helps us to develop our skills, which we can apply in our workplace. This job provides us experience in working also. It also helps us to be independent financially. At last, just want to say that internship should be made mandatory because it not only helps undergraduates and graduates gain real exposure to working environments, but also helps them develop their necessary skills required to stand out in the saturated job market. Thank you.
I'd like to rebuttal this.
Go ahead, Nawaz.
As she told, it is mandatory. It should be upon the students. We should have given the choice to the students because some students have other priorities. Not everybody is looking out for the jobs. Some might have priorities like sports. They might need to do some other jobs. So like it's not compulsory. We should not make it mandatory so that the others who have different priorities can adjust themselves properly. And about that distraction of the scrolling down the social media thing, also we can have other things that can divert our mind to more productive sources rather than just sitting from a new 9 to 5 jobs like an intern and not even getting a pay for a complete employment for the work we do.
But it was just my point of view, na?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah, Rasika.
May I answer, Nawaz?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So interns usually don't have 9 to 5 jobs. That was one thing I wanted to point out. And yes, as you said, some students do not, waste their time on phone. Maybe they are doing some productive stuff. And children must be given the freedom to do things. But excess of freedom, like what is happening right now with most of the students, is they're getting excess of freedom. So with this excess of freedom, many students or children are going into the wrong path, like playing video games and seeing nonsense stuff. So I think if it is made mandatory to do something like an internship, a paid internship, I think that will be very good to, bring them to the right path.
Not
Have
all
a point
internships
to
are
add
paid.
on here as well.
Yes,
If I could go ahead.
yeah.
So a lot of us have been bringing up social media and video games and how much of the youth actually spend unwarranted amounts of time on them. And it is here that I would like to draw a line. It is not that the problem lies with actually using social media or with playing video games. The more important thing is actually to focus on whether they are distracting students from developing themselves, right? Because all of us need time to unwind and relax. But one of the primary things an internship might even teach us is to manage our time effectively, to divide it between learning and work as well as recreation and other activities. So it isn't necessary that all of these things need to be cut out, or students need to live lives of penance in order to achieve what they want to. But the essential skills of time management and devoting effort to studies as well as one's job, all of these are developed through an internship. So
All right. So, do we have anybody who would like to speak? Because we would be like to winding up the session. So,
Ma'am,
somebody.
may I?
Yes, Anshika.
Ma'am, may I?
Yes, Anshika.
Yes. So, ma'am, as good evening to all. Today, I, Anshika of Saffron Public School, going to speak in the favor of internships. So, as per I know that internships are a period of time in which a graduate or a student, recent graduate, just that experiences the job. Like internships are like demo of a job. In internships, there are a lot of advantages. Okay, so of jobs, like what we realize that how much we are able to do, and in terms there are a lot of benefits, like it builds our good resumes. It just enhances our research experience, job experience, and in that case internship job is a foundation, but internship, I think that it is like a construction of house. There are a lot of walls and all, but foundation, it's do not have walls. So I think that internships are way more better than jobs. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Anshika. So, we have anybody who's yet to express their views?
Ma'am, may I?
Yes, Myra.
Good evening to all. Today I'm Ira Bedi from Saffron School. So I'm also in the favor that school internships and after school jobs must be mandatory, as some people may question why. Students should have an after school job because it can help them to make their own decisions, do their time management, and it will help them to learn their responsibility, ethnic values, leadership, respect, and making better and smarter choices. Although it may be true that having an after school job can disrupt the schoolwork, it is an important lesson to the students. And school can help us to learn about the logical knowledge, but school internships can help us to make our future.
Myra, your mic has been switched, off. You need to switch on. We can't hear you.
Sorry, ma'am. Having an after school job is a great way for students to get head start in life and to be well prepared for their future.
All right. So, do
Thank
we
you.
have anybody else apart from Myra has just expressed? So, we are winding up the show, guys.
Yes, ma'am. May I?
Yes, Manan.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I am Manan from Alpine Public School. In my opinion, internships and after-school jobs should not be made mandatory, because graduation is the minimum criteria to get into any good institute or university or college, so that you can get good salary package also. And for example, if you take any examination test like JEE or NEET, there is a criteria. If a student get gets lower percentage than that criteria, then they should opt for internships. It should not be made mandatory. It should be optional. That's my point.
I have I think that's not. I have a debate against it. That internship should be mandatory because that he says that the percentage you need. If we have done internship, then we can have the practical experience, and we can make our answers in our own language, and which impress the examiners the most. And if we have practical experience, we can have the job more faster as compared to by learning. Learning is not a learning is not a necessary thing, but taking something from that thing is a necessary thing. If we do a job, then we gain practical experience. If we study, then we know how to do this job. And someone has also said that I don't mean by the degree. I think it was said by Elon Musk. So degree is not for the job. We have to do work by our hard work, and we can have the job. If we do need degree for job, that I think that not a necessary thing. So thank you.
Yes, I'd like to
All right.
rebuttal
So do
this.
we have no. So we are short of time. So do we have anybody who's yet to speak? Because I would like to wind up. All right, everybody. So a very interesting topic for today's evening was whether internship should be mandatory or whether it should be a part of the curriculum. So in my viewpoint, so what I can express you, there are pros and cons for everything. So there are pros and cons for every situation, every prospects of life that we favor into, go into, cater into. Work life balance teaches us a lot. So work life balance, starting with the initial days of our lives, will give us the benefit of how exactly things are going to be moving forward. Internship is for a very short span of time, and it's not that for you just have to continue living with that. So it's just an experiment, a small little experiments that you grow up with and come up with. It is not going to teach you 9 to 5 job, because not every internship has a 9 to 5 pattern. Though certain internships do have that 9 to 5 pattern, but it also, if you talk about monetary values, if you talk about distractions, if you talk about the work life balance, if you talk about the exposure that you get, of course you get everything of it. But at least at the end of the day, it teaches you something. It gives you that a value addition to your resume or to your life skills, which will make you a better decision maker, in order to make you understand how things can be moving forward in life, and how difficult or how well you have to train yourself, or improvise on yourself and learn. Because each experience, because each step you move forward gives you an experience of a whole together new life, and give you a new perspective and horizon towards what better future that you can catch hold of. So with this note, I'm signing you. Thank you so much everyone for joining us, and giving us these small details and interactions and viewpoints of your own. Secondly, I would like to say, since it was the voting lines are still on, do subscribe our channel and vote for your favorite contestant, and we'll announce the winners soon. Thank you so much. Have a nice day and a nice evening.